Welcome everybody to episode 128 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We're your hosts Adam Amy and Russell Gibson. And what did you get up to today, Russell?
I went down to EJ Cards today, Adam. What did you do today?
That's right. We were both at EJ Cards for their lovely trade day. That was a good day.
Yeah, massive turnout. I would say that's the biggest.
Stinking hot today, and I tell you what, it was
I'm
nice.
Trying my hardest not to talk about the weather, but God, it was hot today.
But it was nice in the store. I think was my observation.
They had the air conditioning on.
The drinks. So it was, grabbed a bottle of water.
The drinks
straight off the bat
looked empty. That was my observation as I was leaving.
Yes. Everyone was taking advantage of the drinks on offer.
Yeah, so I would say for me, onwards and upwards at EJ Cards. They've got more cards out on display to look at. They've reorganized their cabinets.
Yeah.
Now they've got the game machine in there. They've got more cards in their locked cabinet, for you to browse at. They're sort of more higher end cards. They've got a lot more product just sitting on the shelf, and it seemed to me too that they've got a bit more sort of varied. So they've got NBA, they've got soccer now. They've got some Star Wars on the shelf, and you can really see Carson is filled. I feel like there's now like a dividing line between NBA and Pokemon in the shop, and Carson has really, filled that space out. So it's
been great. Yeah.
Fantastic. So and it was good on the boys, as always, for putting that on. Thank you for your hospitality, for your drinks, for your pizza. That was just, amazing. And I think there was a lot of people in there just trading cards, actually, just looking through other people's collections and having
really good to see a lot of trading happening.
And some familiar faces. I think that's the thing too. I've sort of met a few people now, seen them 3 or 4 times. I remember who they are. So yeah, thanks for a great day, everyone. I think that's the best way to say it.
Yeah, it was good. A lot of fun.
Sponsorship news from EJ Cards. They're back on board. Rob and I had a really fantastic conversation today. So they're ongoing, and into the future.
Yep.
The other thing that Rob has finally ironed out too, and I have been nagging him about this for a little while. So Rob, I'm sorry, mate. I do apologize for the nag, but he's also sorted out a promo code. So
excellent.
The promo code offer is basically free express shipping on anything over $50 that your order is.
Yep.
It does have a couple of exclusions on there in that it's a one-time use per customer, and the only exclusions are case lots of supplies, which I can understand. I think that's pretty reasonable. I think if you're buying a case of one touches, the shipping on that would probably be quite hefty.
Rough.
So yeah, I'm okay with that. So I think, if you're just buying some, cards and you're buying some boxes and stuff, I won't run off the promo code on air just for the fact that it's a chain of letters and numbers. You're never going to remember it anyway. I'll put it all onto social media. You'll need to copy and paste that, lads. There's no way that you'll be able to type that in one go. Rob is working on a more user-friendly promo code for that, but that is still coming. So guys, this is massive. This is something I've been wanting, for a really long time. So again, thank you so much, Rob, for all of your support. And we hope that the listeners will also now, get something, back from this in this space. And that's what, my ultimate goal was in this space, was sort of have this, win-win for everyone, basically. So
yeah, definitely. Awesome.
The first thing in this week's run sheet is basically, the run sheet this week is just all the things that I've just been processing in my head this week. So let's start off with Prizm. We did speak about this last week. We spoke about Prizm leaking early. There's been no signs of this being, pulled off the shelves. As far as I can see, it's available for sale on eBay. It's available for sale on Walmart.
Yep.
And
agreed.
Target in the US,
It's
right?
everywhere.
So there's no coming back. The train's left the station. The conversation in my head has been this week, though, it seems to me that breakers are getting back into doing Prizm. So, and this is a little bit of a change, because there was sort of this thing a few years ago where hobby was so expensive. So retail became quite breakable because it was very cheap and it was very fun. And particularly if you're doing Prizm, if you're doing, say, $4 a spot and you hit a silver rookie that was selling for, $100 or $200, that was a good play. But that play sort of died, of course. And then breakers stopped doing retail breaks, but now they've come back again. I think the big reason for that is because hobby's not out yet. People want to get their hands on it, and the Wemby Prizm stuff is selling like hotcakes.
They do. They want Wemby Prizms with curtains and no autographs on them.
And a very strong argument can be made this year is that Prizm is actually going to be very important because we're not getting the autographs through the other products.
Yeah.
So what are people going to be for Wemby stuff? Numbered Prizm stuff, numbered.
Yeah. Well, I actually had a chat with our friend Mr. Chris Ribbus down at the store today, and the first thing that we were talking about is he was talking about our episode last week and how he would be moving a lot of the unnumbered stuff as far as Prizm goes with Wemby specifically. But numbered stuff, just like that's where the value is.
I think the long-term hold on Wemby is the numbered stuff. Yeah. So, and speaking of your source, Mr. Rimpus, he has clearly been reading the numbers on the box because he also noted that. So normally out of blasters, there's a number to 25. So this year, there's 2 other numbered parallels coming out of that too. And so, do I think that dilutes the product a bit? Absolutely. Of course, I think that. But at the same time, too, those cards are still very chaseable. And I think you cannot debate that, in any capacity. But again, the thought that sort of goes through my head is if they're now putting 3 numbered parallels into this, how much of this Prizm blasters are they printing? Like
that's a very good point. But like even if there's a number to 149, 199, 249, 299, that's still a limited number.
Oh yeah, I don't argue that. But if you imagine how much they printed last year, so now if you're now telling me there's 3 times more than that, like that kind of hurts my head. That's like when you're putting, you're calculating the miles that it is to go to the sun or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh God.
It's pretty insane.
That hurts.
It's nuts, actually.
Look, I'll just run through this next bit really quickly. So Walmart has currently got Victor Wembanyama Prizm blasters for sale at $44.99.
Yeah.
They've got Cade here at 28 and Paulo at 37. So that for me is also a really interesting change of mindset because that's more something you would see traditionally at, say, hobby shops, not at retail shops. So even retail is cottoning on to the different value of products, which I think is good.
Is it? I wonder if it's where they're sourcing it from, or is it are the wholesalers changing the prices? Who's the one changing the price is my question. But
I think it's a little from column A and column B, but someone like Walmart with the buying power that they've got, I would actually suspect that they'll be setting the prices because and this also goes back to how people, the longer they're in the hobby, the sort of the smarter they get. I would also put this down to Walmart just being smarter in that hobby space. Like and they would have the numbers too to back this up. Like, can you imagine how much stuff would go through their doors?
It's actually quite phenomenal to think about that.
Checking resale prices though, this is the part that really got me. 34 USD, 41, 46, 117 USD for 3. I'm talking about Wemby Prizm blasters at the moment.
They're all Wemby ones.
38, 91 posted for 2, and that included postage. So if you cannot get access to Walmart and Target, because people from overseas can have a lot of trouble doing that, the easy play is eBay. And this is where I'm going to be heading because my Target account got cancelled. They decided they weren't going to ship to
Australia
to forwarding boxes anymore. Yeah. There was too much fraud going on in that space. So even though my account was very well established, obviously had like a good buying record with them. Yeah, I couldn't make any more purchases.
They didn't. Yeah, okay. So sort of cracking down on that. Yeah.
So look, initially when I went onto Walmart and Target, obviously I was disappointed. But now that I've seen the eBay sold prices, look. So for people who are listening at home, I think that's definitely a play to be had there. So anything else you wanted to add to this Prizm conversation, Ad, before we move on?
Oh, look, I think it's it'll be interesting to see what happens when it stabilizes. I know Wemby's a very unique. So when it's one of those players, it's always interesting to see what the product does. But yeah, like the message that I'm getting is there's enough product. So don't get FOMO and pay exorbitant amounts for
if there's
cards.
Triple of last year, man, like there's so much product, we're going to be
there's going to be product
available.
Stuff. Yeah, there'll be product available. We'll get access to it. Remember, this is This is like Walmart, like leaking product early. There will be more product.
They probably leaked it because they had nowhere else to put it. Their warehouse was so full of it,
That's true. But
Actually,
yeah,
I do have one more thing to say. I forgot to say this. So at the moment, Australian retailers are selling it for very varied prices, from 100 AUD for a blaster, even up to 170. So I think that's my other motivation for it. So I think, look, if you're paying around 100 Aussie dollars for one, that's actually not outrageous, because if you think about it, so if you pay, let's just say you pay $40 USD, and then you have to pay postage, you might get stung by the tax man at the border. That's close enough to $100 anyway, so that's probably not too bad. I think once you're getting up to that 150, 170 mark, though, I think
then
you
it
probably
starts
could
to get a bit. You start to ask questions. Really,
play the long game and go somewhere else. All right. Following on from this same Prizm conversation, but a very, very different theme. This is from NBA Hotspot Worldwide, Trade and Sell Cards. This is the page that's run by Raymond who was very kind enough to come onto the podcast a while back. Look, I love this page. 34,000 members. I will say the activity on the page has died off dramatically, but still, every post that comes up on this page is a notification for me. Because, look, I get so many notifications on Facebook. I figure what's another, 2 or 3 more a day. This is from Devin Michael. Luka, Prizm rookie card, silver PSA 10, lot of 2, 2,500 for both. Look, I browsed past it. I thought that was fine. What I really found interesting about this was the comments. I'm not going to read out names because for confidentiality. You guys can find this on the page, so easily just search it up.
Yeah.
Crazy with a capital K. I remember these were 7,000 to 8,000 each. So this guy's selling them for 1,250. So we were talking about this last week. This is, I feel like this is a bit of a continuation from last week. We're talking about pop counts, right?
Yeah. True.
Read through some of the comments down through here, Ad.
Crazy. Yep.
These will be worth 600 each in the coming years, just a matter of time before the market equilibrium kicks in.
That's okay. Yeah, that's
the
crazy.
reply was, you're entitled to your opinion, but don't be negative on the post. It's not about being positive or negative. It's market equilibrium and economics. The PSA 10 base has a pop of 20,000 and PSA 9 has 15,000. These cards will be readily available for the next 50 years. Those will eventually balance out to 50 apiece.
Wow. This is like, I'm going to say, I'll weigh in and say, I don't think it's appropriate to put it on someone's sale post to sort of point out what you think the economics are. I think it does draw that negativity vibe to it, but he's got a point.
So I think I agree with that, but I would also say too, if you put stuff up on Facebook, that's what's going to happen. People are going to comment
on it. Put it in a public forum, you get the...
If you want a sale post with no comments, you go to eBay or you go to,
Yeah, true. Just
PWCC.
Quickly, John O'Michael's in the comments. I know someone who bought 3 of them for 10K Aussie each.
Yeah.
They were very hot commodities. And for the pop count, whew.
Just going down in the comments though. So I think what one person is saying is they're going to go down. What another person then further down says, assuming demand for all cards is equal, is the flaw of this argument. And that's probably the part where I'm maybe not so bullish about. Now, we're going to talk about Kawhi Leonard later in the show, and I think Pop is going to come into this in a really big way. And actually, maybe what we could do is we could put Luka in. I haven't got Luka in that conversation. What we could do is we could put Luka into that, and we could take this around full circle. So why don't we leave this here for the minute? Look, I actually thought this was a really interesting thought piece. I get what you're saying about the negativity, but I was more looking at it.
The actual comments. Yeah.
So why don't we look into the future about this? I think that's a good conversation to be had, So yeah. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
Sliding into KD versus Luka. So this is from our friends at Card Ladder. Kevin Durant, Bowman Chrome 2007 Gold Refractor PSA 10 sold for 13,800. Or would you rather have the Luka Doncic numbered to 199?
Yep.
The blue Prizm, also PSA 10, that sold for 13,100.
I'll take the Luka. That's right. You heard it here first. I've just said I will take the Luka.
I feel like I've finally broken you down, actually.
No, it's a color match, so I've got it.
It has nothing to do with the player, does it?
It's like it's a color match. It's numbered. Yeah. I think the Luka. Not saying that the Kevin Durant's a bad card, but I think I think the Luka.
So the gold refractor is actually numbered to 99. I should have really said that before, to be fair.
Oh, true. Gold.
And
see, normally gold. It's funny. Gold to 10 with
to 10. That's
with
your
Prizm,
initial
yeah.
thought, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but Bowman is very different. Yeah.
I have
Now
to say,
Bowman is 2007 Bowman Chrome. Interesting.
I gotta tell you, man, I think the more underrated person in this equation is Kevin Durant, particularly in the hobby area. I think he cops a lot of bad publicity. Yeah. And the irony is for me, how I feel about this is I actually think the prospecting card is the Luka. For all the arguments that you've made on previous shows that, he's done a lot of cool stuff, but what has he actually done?
What has he actually done?
Durant has a very established, resume now. So
yeah, but he still doesn't have the hobby love, which concerns me. You know what I mean? Like his the championship side of things is a bit of a sticking point for KD because he went to the Warriors and just got given a championship, right?
No, I don't agree with that. I think actually with that KD, they wouldn't have got those 2 chips.
I just think probably. But I think KD's narrative is very different to Luka's. Luka's trying to build a brand as a player for Dallas.
Yeah.
And he hasn't succeeded at that yet because he doesn't have an MVP and he hasn't got a championship. But he's also under 25 years of age.
And also, yes. And in addition to that, it's very hard to actually be your own champion. Like how many people are actually, how long did it take Hakeem to do it? How long did it take Jordan to do it?
True. I just think KD, there was a point there where Kevin Durant kind of just lost the plot on socials with the burner account stuff. And I just thought the narrative of his career took a turn.
But in saying that, clearly the narrative isn't that negative in that someone spent 14,000 USD on this card, right? Hey,
guy can play basketball.
First segue of the show is the actual narrative or the storyline now of the Golden State Warriors is that if Draymond Green had better people management skills, they would have won more championships. Because if he could have managed the whole KD, he could have managed his emotions a bit better, not kicking people in the nuts and punching them and clotheslining them. Would they actually have been more successful?
That's actually quite reasonable.
That's a hot take.
I like that. All right,
this next one's a really quick one from NBA Card Market. Show me your kabooms for under 250.
Are there any?
No. Moving on to the next.
Tumbleweeds. Wait. Someone put up a Cam Reddish.
They should have bought that at that price.
Best offer accepted, $100 US.
Oh, come on. That is the annoying thing about comps, right? Isn't it? It's like, if you wanted that price, why didn't you go onto the eBay and buy it instead of telling me about my card, which I've got in my hand that,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Right. So everyone, please get out your phone. Please go onto Instagram and type in this in your search bar, The Real 27 Guy. This is Adam Gray. He is a content creator. He does a range of different content. This is not a paid advertisement either, by the way, guys. This is just someone that I love on Instagram, and now I'm listening to his podcast. He also makes a magazine. I was reading it, an old edition today at EJ Cards. They just had one on the shelf, and I was like, I know what that is. That's by Adam Gray. Pass it over to me. I want to have a look at it. Check out his Instagram. Check out his podcast. Check out his magazine. We are trying to get him onto the show, and the other thing I want to do with this guy too is try and get his magazine distributed in Australia. Say we can get a distribution deal sorted out with EJ Cards. You can go in there and buy one off the shelf. Like they're just sitting there, like, Beckett's used to be sitting in the news agents. Like that would be sick.
That would be that's. I like that. I really, really, really like that.
He's informative. He doesn't do, the terror tactics and all that type of stuff that you get in media. He just does really good stuff. Yeah, Adam Gray, check him out.
Yeah.
A feel-good Panini story is coming up next. This is a story about a replacement card.
Hang on. A feel-good what? Panini story?
Look, some of these replacement stories, we've done a few of these, to be fair.
Most of the ones we've done have been good replacement stories, actually, with
There's
Panini.
been horror stories. I'm not going to tell you there's not, but there's also good ones. And I like to talk about the good ones. So,
yeah, look, the bad ones are, dime a dozen.
This is from a member of NBA Card Market. He had an Anthony Edwards Select RPA.
Nice looking card.
He waited 6 months before he submitted in for replacement, and they still came good on it. The thing that he mentioned about, which I actually thought was really interesting, was when they sent it back to him, it had the Panini seal on it, which he quite liked about that. So that's a really like interesting little twist for me too, because I actually hate stickers on one touches. That's one of my like pet hobby peeves, particularly all these breakers that are like willy-nilly putting them on. I think they should give you $5 break credit for you replacing the one touch they give you.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Oh, just grinds my gears. Anyway.
But the Panini seal doesn't?
I prefer it without. I'll leave the Panini seal on because it's good that it's Panini sealed, but in saying that, it still doesn't mean the card's going to gem.
Yeah, that's
I've
true.
taken cards out of a Panini seal, sent it off to PSA, come back PSA 9. You know what I mean? So it's not as though...
Yeah.
What does it really mean? It's just a Panini seal.
We've got in the chat, Sean Callens. We had a member that had a gold numbered to 10 Luka redemption, and Panini replaced it with 11,500 reward points.
I don't think that's a good deal.
I feel like that's a bit of it, yeah.
Because the problem with the points at the moment is that you go onto the store, it's a pretty bare shelf.
Well, it's because there's no point in having anything on the store. They're only in operation for another year and a half.
No, but what will happen is they put out a newsletter and they say these are the cards that are coming up, and then people get on there and redeem
just
them
camp for
in 2 seconds, right? So are they bots or are they people? Like sometimes they're so fast, I don't know. So the problem is with 11,000
from Walmart.
Probably. The problem with 11,000 is, what can you get for that 11,000? That will be heartbreaking. This next ad break is brought to you by Slambox, Australia's best value basketball repacks. Visit www.slambox.com.au to check out the latest series or join the Slambox Facebook page and message them directly. Slambox features big-name autos including Giannis, Zion, LaMelo, Banchero, Jett, Tatum, and more. Super short prints, case hits from a variety of different products including National Treasures, Flawless, Noir, Immaculate, Impeccable, and more. Slambox has different tiered product levels to cater for all budget levels and collector preferences. Thank you, Slambox, for your support. So this next one, this is what I wanted to talk to you about. And this one, I'm not too sure. Is this good or is this bad? So Panini is definitely clearing their backlog. And they've been very active in the last few months about this. I suspect they've probably cleared another 10,000 redemptions because they've just issued optic sparkle packs, which is really a derivative of the white sparkle packs that they will sometimes sell on their shop for dollars, and they also sell them for points too. So
those lovely Panini points.
If you get points and you get a sparkle pack, I would actually say that's an excellent play.
Yep.
But not for a Luka card for obvious reasons. So
yeah, fair.
They are really aiming at low-end cards for these. So actually, for me, I'm going to mark this down as a win for collectors because I like the aesthetics of optics. I like the feel of optic. I think the make of the card is pretty good. And I am also quite a sucker for these like sparkle cards that are, relatively short print. So, the issue I have with this though is it really depends on the redemption that you had and then what you get back from the packet. Because if you had, a medium to good redemption and then you get nothing out of the packet, that kind of breaks your heart. But in the instance of my buddy who I was putting the redemption in for, it was Keita Bates Diop. Now he gets to open up a sparkle pack. So, he's wrapped.
Yeah, for sure.
I've got another friend that had, this is where I want to lead the conversation too. Joe Ingles autograph or patch autograph, don't quote me on this. And then he got a sparkle pack that had a blue Polo Banchero in it. So that's,
oh, wow. Okay.
that's a hit, right?
Yeah.
But this is a sticking point. Some people are actually saying, well, the athletes never received the cards, or in the last 10 years, why have they not resolved this, redemption? What's going on in that space?
Yeah.
Is it actually cheaper for them to make these sparkle packs and just send them out to people than, chase up all these athletes?
Quite possible.
Where are you at with that type of story?
Yeah, look, I think they're trying to work smarter, not harder with the logistics behind getting redemption autographs and things.
Yeah.
You can't sort of overpromise, under-deliver, which is what Panini did in the beginning with the redemption program.
Yeah, sure.
I think these promises to get them filled, you don't know. It's hit and miss. And I think, if it's a known quantity, if you've got a few out there, then maybe have something else. Having something like the redemption, the sparkle packs, is a really good idea. I think no one likes the bad feel story of waiting on a redemption and not getting that redemption card.
Yeah. Look, I think it depends on the redemption. Like, Keita Bates Diop, who cares? Like, yes, a pack is right. But if you collect Joe Ingles and you wanted that autograph card, like, that is highly unsatisfactory, particularly if you've been that person who's waited 5 years. Like, that's rough. Like,
That's very rough.
I do feel for collectors, particularly, someone who's, PCing Joe Ingles, or whoever it is. Like, that, I don't think that really matters, to be honest.
Yeah, true.
I will say, though, they must have one enormous backlog if they're producing a new set just to take care of that set.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We're talking about Prizm Blaster level here, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah, true. God.
All right. So last week, this is really a part 2 of this segment. We were speaking about the Donruss No Autograph. And I think in parts of the episode, I was calling him a non-autograph, but excuse my French or bad English, but the correct phrase is actually no autograph, but let's move on from that. What was really bugging me was...
the true way to call it is bloody ridiculous, but...
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So what was really bugging me was initially, I actually thought it was like a joke or it was false news, because the first post I saw was from China. So I was very much skeptical about the whole thing. And then
yeah.
When David John DJ's cards pulled one, I was like, there's no way this guy would make it up. They hit a Victor no autograph card, and I was like, right, okay, so this is legit.
Actually, this is concerning. Yep.
I did find a few of them, but I didn't list them all off, and that's what's been bugging me this week. So I found the entire list. And actually, guys, if you want to look at this at home, just go to Cardboard Connection. The autograph list is there, and the no autographs is found under inserts. So just click on the inserts tab, and it's all there. So look, this is not rocket science, but here we go. Victor, Brandon Miller, Scoot Henderson, Anthony Black, which is pick number 6, pick number 8, Jarace Walker for the Pacers, pick number 9, Taylor Hendricks, pick 11, Jett Howard, pick 13, Grady Dick, pick 14, Jordan Hawkins, pick 17, Jalen Hood, excuse my pronunciation, Schifino for the Lakers.
Yep.
Pick 18, Jaime Jaquez, which we spoke about last week.
Jaquez.
This is a problem, in my opinion. I think that guy's going to be significant. Pick 20, Cam Whitmore, and 27, Nick Smith Jr., who I've got on my fantasy team. And I think he's like a deep cut smoky. All of these guys are no autographs. So
there's a big thing there. That's 6 of the top 10 did not sign.
Well, out of the top 10, it's your maths is correct, Dad. That's 6. So I think if you're walking away from the negotiation table and you've just signed up all those guys and Panini doesn't have them, that is such a victory for Fanatics, isn't it?
Yeah, well, think about it. It's like, okay, Panini, so which draft picks have you got autographs for? And they're like 4, 5, 7, and 10.
Yeah.
Great selling point. Yeah.
So, and again, we did speak about this last week, but I think this is again a continuation on. So if you're a consumer and you're going into breaks and or you're buying sealed product, how much does this affect you? So the Victor Wembanyama sold for $1,000 USD, no autograph twice.
Yeah.
We were talking about this off air. So, and now people just considering this a short printed Victor card that actually is collectible.
Yeah. I think so. If there's
Where
not going to be an actual
autograph,
autograph.
like, do you think that's a good play? Do you think that's a bad play? Do you just think this is the nature of the beast and we have to get used to it? Where are you at?
I feel like for the next couple of years, this is what we're going to be in and around with the transition between.
Because we've still got one more year of this.
Yeah, I know. And
after this
that's
year,
concerning. Right? Is this Fanatics' attempt to force an early transition, or I don't know? I think there's some interesting moves happening, but the other question is, does that make Prizm more relevant this year? Because that was what we led to.
It makes me think that Prizm is doubly more important. So the chase cards,
Prizm, but even just rookie card, like just limited number rookie cards.
Yeah,
because there is no autograph for these future stars.
Yeah,
like say. All right, we get that Wemby will probably be like one of those generational talents. We've got that. But even if Scoot is or Miller is, they're not going to have a rookie autograph. That's crazy in this day and age.
No, definitely.
I feel like the collectors are actually missing out in a sense
That I agree with 100%. That was actually my next point I was going to make.
It's
the
kind of
real
like
losers here
mum and dad are fighting, and the kids are going to miss out.
Yep, definitely.
On an autograph card. And just sort it out, guys. Come on. Have an amicable transition. And I feel like Fanatics is trying to sort of have a swing to try and one fell swoop get rid of Panini or initiate an early takeover of the hobby. I feel like we're suffering.
It does create a void in terms of where you put your money, doesn't it? So if we move forward in releases, so we go to Noir.
Yeah.
They do make some nice RPAs in that space. So there's not going to be one for Victor. There's not going to be one for Scoot. There's not going to be one for Brandon Miller. So
they're all RPs, not RPAs.
Where do you put your cash though?
Yeah.
So either numbered Prizm stuff is going to be through the roof, or people aren't going to be spending, and that's the other, I think, eventuality too. And we've spoken about, where is the hobby going to be going for the next 2 years? Maybe this is something that we actually haven't discussed with enough vigor. What is the impact of the no autographs going to be on the hobby for the next 2 years?
I don't know. It created some fun and games. People were putting base cards up and just putting masking tape over the top and writing no autograph.
Again, that was David John, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. There's a LeBron base or something, and it's a bit of a joke. I don't know. I don't like the fact that it says no autograph on it. Just don't put an autograph on it. Don't put it in the checklist. Make a different checklist.
Remember when Paris said one of the biggest scams of the last few years was all the billion or however many $100 millions came out of the value of the Zion rookie silvers and all that stuff?
Yeah.
How much money is not going to be put into the hobby because of this no autograph situation? I wonder if this is the same, but almost in reverse.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. Yeah, actually got Sean again in the comments. Pivotal point in the destruction of Panini. I think it will be an iconic card long term.
Yeah, right.
And you're right. Probably with the all publicity is publicity in itself.
Yeah.
There is a chance that this becomes an iconic, recognized rookie card.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't have an autograph on it.
Look, I think that opinion is actually really valuable because I'm really struggling at the moment to see how $1,000 on that card is a good spend. I'm not going to lie to you.
Agreed.
Do I think in 5 years' time that could be $200? Yeah, I really do think that. But
very much so. Yeah.
I'd love to be wrong, and it's a $2,000 card.
Yeah, I'm just disappointed that we're not going to see certain players in their rookie year not have an autographed rookie card. And I think that's disappointing for the fans. That's disappointing for the hobby, the collectors in the hobby.
Yeah, so for me, I wanted to get some Anthony Black. I wanted to get some Jett Howard. They're the ones I'm kind of like, ooh, that would be like nice prospecting. So that's a bit of a dent for me, definitely.
Yeah.
And it sort of makes me look further down the list. So is Koulibaly someone else I'll be looking at instead?
Is this true?
I got to say, the team I think at the moment to take in PYTs, though, if you're just looking at the next day autograph list, is the Mavericks. So you've got Luka potential, you've got Kyrie potential, you've got pick 12, which is Derek Lively, who's looking really good. And then not that much further down the list here.
Is there another Maverick?
They got 2 picks this year.
Ooh. Oh, wait, yeah. Number 24.
Yeah. So, I reckon...
pronounce his name. Oliver Maxence?
Olivier Maxence Prosper.
Yeah.
That's my attempt. So, look, I got to say to you, if I'm going into one of these breaks, I think I would rather go with a team like that than the no autograph way. But I think Magic for me is going to be pretty tough.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
All right. This next segment is about Kawhi Leonard, and this has been in our run sheet for about a month, and I just done no prep work. It's basically just sat there.
Time to address Kawhi. Now that he has been selected as an all-star reserve.
The timing is impeccable, actually. So look, there's 2 reasons for this I wanted to talk about it. So I just want to set the background before I go into all the running off of the stats.
Let's do it.
Number 1 is, actually, I love big threes. And normally I froth for them. And when the big 3 of Kawhi, Paul George, and James Harden got together, we barely talked about it. And I think my bias was that I didn't think anything was going to happen. I thought, Kawhi would get injured again, Paul George get injured again, James Harden would be 25 kilograms overweight, and then he would just be shooting step back threes that were air ball, something like that. But it's
It
actually
doesn't
been the
happen until
opposite.
after the All-Star weekend.
So I think we need to give the Clippers props, where they are. They're 15 games above 500 at the moment.
They're doing
a
very
shoe-in.
well. They have.
They're a shoe-in to make the playoffs. I think they're only going to get better as the season goes on. I think in terms
Agreed.
of continuity and chemistry, and then the really strong argument to be made here is the Boston Celtics, the year that they won it the first year with like Kevin Garnett,
True.
Ray Allen, Paul Pierce. You had these guys who were just at the right time in their careers where they hadn't really had that much team success, but they had a lot of individual success, and they sort of put all that aside and became a really good team. So how you make the argument that Kawhi Leonard is Kevin Garnett, particularly with the vocal leadership part, I think that's tough. But you know what I'm trying to say there with like the three sort of more veteran guys there.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to talk about too is where does Kawhi Leonard sit in terms of the all-time rankings and then hobby value-wise? Is this guy a good buy or is this guy someone that you should stay away from because he's just really overpriced? So I want to go through a little bit of pricing, and then I found a couple of cards that I thought might be interesting. So,
yeah.
All right, here come the stats, guys. So if you don't want any stats, if it's too much for you, just skip forward a couple of minutes and then come back to the card news. That's totally fine. 12 seasons for the Spurs, Clippers, and Raptors. Career averages 19.9 points. Let's just round it up to 20. 6.5 rebounds, 3 assists in 671 regular season games. So not many games. Like everyone knows about his injury history. He's played in 5 All-Star games, and he's just been selected for his 6th. He's won 2 Defensive Player of the Year awards, 2 Finals MVPs, which I think is very important in terms of all-time relevancy, and 2 NBA championships. That came from StatMuse, so thank you very much. From NBA.com, I found this. In his 12th NBA season, Leonard is averaging career highs in field goal percentage, 52.6, and minutes, which I think is very, very important, 34.4. He currently ranks tied for first in the NBA for plus-minus differential at 8.4. So that means when you're on the court, what is your team's plus-minus in comparison to when you're on the bench? That's what that is.
So as opposed to like Jordan Poole that's like minus 100 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, so his plus-minus would be better when he's on the bench. So he'd be like probably negative 8.4.
Yeah, it'd be negative 18.4. He's atrocious. Anyway, back to Kawhi.
Second in net rating, 11.6. Third in steals at 1.7. And 7th in deflections per game. Oh, I love those deflection stats at 3.1. Leonard is the only player in the NBA this season to average 23 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1.5 steals. Right, now looking at his career statistics, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 2 times Final MVP, 5 times All-NBA selection, 2021, 2020, 2019, 17, and 16. 7 all-defensive team selections. Now, this is the one that actually surprised me because I know he's a really good defensive player, but I didn't think he'd played enough time to get that many selections. Yeah. He's also a member of the 75th NBA anniversary team. And without cheating and looking on the sheet, do you know where he finished on that ranking at?
In the top 75.
Yeah.
He'd be in the last bracket, wouldn't he? The last third. So 25, 25, 25. He'd be in the 50 to 75.
So off the top of my head, to be honest, that's where I thought he was. They actually ranked him at 34th.
Oh, wow. So he's actually in the middle, in the higher end of the middle.
Yeah. And what's really interesting, when you look, so I looked at a bunch of different lists, like rating the top 50 best players, the top 40, the top 30. When you go in the top 30, 30 to 39, that's a pretty tough list. So that's like Dwayne Wade, Iverson,
I'm like, who else in active NBA players is higher than him in that all 75? That'd be
Steph Curry, Giannis, Joker,
LeBron.
Oh yeah, that guy too. Yeah,
he's all right.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He goes okay.
But when you get to the 40s, that's when actually there's a massive dip between 30 and 40. So 40 is like Reggie Miller and Ray Allen and Rick Smits. Like it's a really big drop off. So I kind of get that.
Yeah. Wow,
14, 15 steals champ, 11, 12 all rookie. That's kind of like his career summary, right? So that sums it up. So keeping in mind, he's sort of in that like 30s range. So his 2012 Prizm, which is his rookie card without the rookie emblem, pop of 42 on that. He's currently selling for 2,000, right?
That is juicy.
So let's go back to Luka, where there's a lot more than that, probably currently
A
trading.
lot more than that. A lot more than that? Is that what we're going to go with? Yeah.
Look, trading roughly the same price. Like, we're not talking, multiples of. With a resume like that, and this is probably the argument that I was trying to
build,
work out in my head, are we undervaluing this guy? Is this guy actually fantastic? And
that pop count is very appealing. I think that's the right word. Appealing.
And very different to ultra modern. I think that's the
shame. It's that 2012 rookie year where the rookie badge wasn't on the Prizms.
I don't actually think that makes much of a difference, because if you look at the gold of that's sold for the Kawhi Leonard sold for $100,000. So clearly that's not a problem for people at all. Yeah. So the Luka's pop is now $2,272. It last sold for $1,200. So we're $800 apart. That's
yeah.
I think for the resume differences, it's a big deal. So I tried to find some other people to try and work this out. The James Harden refractor. There's number to 99 of this. That sold for $1,800. Again, PSA 10. These are all PSA 10s. The Iverson Pop 36 Chrome Refractor from 1996, that sold for $15K. That's really interesting to me, because that for me is more like a social phenomenon than, resume.
Sure.
Dwayne Wade 2003 Topps Chrome Refractor sold for $1,100. I'm shocked about that, but the pop on that is $151. So
imagine if the pop count was 1,151.
Yeah, so there's a really strong argument there, isn't it? You can say, okay, there's 5 times more than these. Yes, I can kind of understand that. I tried to find somebody who was like super old school.
That top 75?
He's also in the top 75. I don't actually know what he was on the list. I found Isaiah Thomas. That was someone that came to my head.
Okay. Nice pop count.
Yeah, 1986 Fleer. This is not his rookie card, but obviously, the first card that's available.
Yeah.
PSA 10 sold for $5,500. Pop of 42, which is exactly the same as the Kawhi Leonard. So
interesting.
Look, do I think that this card is going to be a $5,000 card in the near future? I don't. Do I think this card has got some legs and is going to be like a slow burn? Yeah, I do. I really do. I have to say this though too. I think this card has bump potential.
I do too.
So if these guys make the finals and he wins another chip, I think you could see more gains in the shorter term. But where I'm sort of pitching this card is, I think this is a buy and vault card.
Yeah. I think this is a historical card, not a flip card.
Yeah.
Is that, yeah.
That's where I'm sort of leading with this, because I really think that this guy has an all-time resume. I think 2,000 is a lot of money. I'm not trying to, downplay this, but I don't think this is 5,000 for an Isaiah Thomas 86 Fleer either.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Right. If you don't want to talk about silvers, which is some of the criticism we've had of the show ads, I found some other cards. 2012 NT RPA number to 199 sold for $14,000.
Interesting. Yeah.
If you want something that's a bit more affordable, come this way. 2017 blank slate for $265.
That's very affordable. Yeah.
2016 Excalibur Kaboom $416.
Oh, that's close to that $250 mark that you wanted.
That's a bit more, but at the same time, we've spoke about my love for Kabooms. I don't think that's a tragedy.
I don't think Kabooms ever go down, so that's probably a nice little investment, actually.
My next favorite are coming in these next two, though. 2019 1-1 Downtown, which is just a beautiful design, $295. I like that a lot. That's a case.
Nice.
2017 Court Kings Aurora for $93. I think if you're wanting something that's shorter print, a bit more affordable, I've spoke about Auroras on the show in the past before. I think these are really good cards.
Yeah.
That's something there. Now, PSA and Cardboard Connection both wrote articles about Kawhi Leonard.
Yep.
And if you Google Kawhi Leonard rookies, they'll come up for you easy. So have a bit of a read. What PSA did pitch, though, was the 2011 SP Authentic, which is in a college uniform. So they're currently trading for less than $100 in a PSA 10. Again, if this fits your budget and, you're looking for something that's a bit cheaper, the pop on these is low. It's in the 40s. I don't mind this. The only thing is, and I think you have to say this with a very large asterisk next to it, it's college uniform.
So, all right. So a player, now we're not going to talk about the Lukas Luka's only started his career in the one team, right? So we're not going to talk about the Steph Currys, the Kobe Bryants, the Dirk Nowitzkis, the loyalists the Tim Duncans that stay 20 years at the same team.
Yeah.
Right? We're talking about a player that has gone to a lot of different teams. What's the difference if you got a college jersey?
There is a difference.
It's not rookie year. That's the only difference, really.
Yeah, but there is a difference between college and pro. People do value pro a lot more. Yeah. I think that's...
their rookie year is their first pro year. This is before their first pro year. That's the downside, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at the same time... I just
think there's less... I don't know. If I have a player that's changed teams a bunch of times, I probably don't care what they're wearing in their rookie card.
I suppose where I'm making the pitch for this, though, is price point.
Yeah, for sure.
Is this a good purchase at that price point? What's the best card you can buy for 100 USD?
Yes.
Do I think this is the best card? No, I don't. But
is it an option? Sure.
Yeah, it's got to be in the conversation. And also, I kind of like those slightly oddball sort of, different choices. And look, keeping in your budget is a really important thing for me, in this hobby. So
for sure.
I like that. I like the Aurora getting those two for, sub 100 USD.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
Look, I think we've got a couple more minutes. Why don't we go onto our Facebook page of You Can't Comp This? In the pinned post, we've got some buy, hold, sell, and people have made some requests for us. So why don't we just...
I'm in. Let's do it. On the fly. Facebook. I've been on that before.
All right. The first one is Chris Paul. This is a fun one. Not many people like Chris Paul, but he's got an amazing career. The 2005 Chrome Refractor. PSA 10. Population of 23. Last sold for 1,800. So I think actually this is fantastic timing. Talking about this, we just spoke about the Kawhi Leonard. I want to get the exact price. I really should have done this in the show. So
yeah. So
the silver PSA 10 is pop 42, and I've actually lied to you guys like blatantly. It's not 2,000, it's 2,600. So would you rather 2 Chris Pauls or would you want 1 Kawhi Leonard?
How much is Chris Paul? I almost want Chris Paul.
1,800. So the maths doesn't exactly add up, does it? Okay,
no,
but let's say 1.5. We'll chop 1.5.
Lower I want Kawhi.
Yeah.
I want Kawhi. Because Kawhi succeeded.
I actually think that's really good content. I know we did that on the fly, but I think that's a fantastic comp. Let's look at Chris Paul. Let's look at Kawhi Leonard. Yep. Howard Smith, he asked for Tiffany Stratton. I'm pretty sure she's a wrestler. Howard, I'm sorry, mate. Can't help you with this.
Yeah, I can't help with that either.
Or do you want to give it a go? We'll go to 130 point and give it a crack. No, we're not going to do this. This is out of my professional realm, Howard.
Out of it?
Can't do it, mate. All right, This next one is absolutely delicious and amazing timing.
I think we need to do this one, actually, yeah.
Tyrese Maxey. This is actually long overdue. It's not like we never speak about the guy on the show, but...
Yeah, no, I'm keen on Maxey at the moment. I think a lot of people are.
Right, let's set the table on this, okay? We've spoken about this card already. I think we spoke about this card at the $200 mark. We said that Maxey came into the league young. He came into the league with a work ethic that's basically like no others. Now Embiid's hurt himself. The injury report on this is not out. And interestingly, Philadelphia just got fined like $75,000 for not putting in the correct injury report for the Denver game. So it's not like they're new to these games that they play with injury reports.
Yeah.
Embiid could have a torn meniscus, which is most likely going to really matter.
Screw the season.
Yeah. But on the flip side, that means Maxey's going to get
lion's share of opportunity.
15 more touches a game, like at least, right? Yeah. So he's currently trading at 315. The population of this is 380 for ultra modern. That's very low.
Yeah, or given recent times, that is actually quite a reasonable pop count.
Interestingly, in the last 3 months, he's down 6%. Buy, hold, or sell ad at 350.
Hold. I think he is actually a $400 to $500 player. It has potential to be such. He has the potential. But if I've got him at 300, I'm just holding it for now.
Yeah. I like this better than Jordan Poole at 1,000. Let me put it to you this way.
I think Jordan Poole would rather this than his rookie card at the moment. Jordan Poole loves Jordan Poole. Have we got anybody else there?
We have a new sponsor supporting the show. It is the Bangman. who is a new startup and have been operating since June this year, delivering a variety of hobby packs in a single box at an affordable price. So far, they've delivered some huge hits. The biggest one they've pulled so far is a Steph Curry Signatures Gold Auto to 10, which came out of the July edition. Some comps have been rounded up to about 15k AUD, which was verified by Card Letter. So if you're not familiar with what the Bangman is and what their product is offering, it's basically an assortment of hobby packets put into a box at an affordable buy, and you can then open a variety of different hobby packs. Some of the advantages of buying into a product such as this is that you can sample a whole bunch of different products. Another way to think of it is doing your own break at home. The advantage of the Bangman's product is you are purchasing sealed, unsearched hobby packs as opposed to a single card repack product that has a huge range in value. Just to make the clear delineation between the Bangman's product and any traditional repack, when you buy into a Bangman product, you are getting the guarantee of the Panini seal, and then all of the hits that then come out of sealed products. So all the numbered cards, if appropriate for the product, rookie patch autographs, signature cards, and of course those super short prints and case hits. Another key point for the Bangman product is that they have an assortment of different hobby packs in a custom box at two different price points, one being a gold edition and the other being a silver edition. Each month, the Bangman changes up the pack so it's not the same constant lineup. For listeners of our podcast, we have an exclusive deal for you. Use promo code youcantcompthis to get a $15 discount off your next purchase. Find the Bangman on Instagram, the.bang.man, and on Facebook, the Bangman. Thank you so much, Amir and Team Bangman. Tim Duncan.
Timmy D.
The really interesting thing about Tim Duncan, particularly if you're sorting by value, is that his rookie cards actually aren't more value than the PMGs, which is probably a really good place to start, actually. Anyway, 1997 Topps Chrome Refractor. Before I even look at the price, I'm going to call these a sell. I personally put Tim Duncan in the top 10 without even thinking. If I sat down and tried to really make a strong argument that he should be top 5, I could probably do that in some capacity. The BGS 9.5 last sold for $10,000. So again, we're not talking about a small amount of money here. Like, you know, it's a lot of money. The super interesting thing is the PSA 10 last sold for $5,500.
It's interesting that the base pop count on the base is pretty insane, so we won't worry about that. Yeah, pop count of 107 the refractor. It's probably a good. It's an interesting buy price. When was the last sale though?
I've already said this is a buy before I even looked at the price. I'm sticking with that. Yeah, so it's unknown. Let me try and find it though.
September 2023.
Okay, that's actually not that long ago, is it?
No.
In the last 2 years, that card's down 45%. All right, I'm doubling down. That's a strong buy.
Strong buy.
Strong buy. Carmelo Anthony.
Chrome base.
The number to 50 sold for $13,000. So let's put a number out here and say the number to 300, if it's sold today, would probably sell for around $2,000 USD. That would be my guess.
Fair.
If you look at the BGS 9.5, there's actually a bit of sale data there.
I think for me, Carmelo's a buy if you collect Carmelo. I don't think he's someone you just randomly invest in.
So if you go to the Chrome Refractor number to 300, BGS 9.5, in the last 2 years, there's 4 sales. The last sale was in July of 23 and it sold for $350.
Okay.
I got to tell you, with a population of 10 on the 9.5 and then another 6 on the PSA 10.
That's a buy.
I think that is a very strong buy.
Yeah.
And
you can
then
pick one up for less than 500 Australian. It's probably worth it.
Yeah. Because I think the thing with this guy is, let's just put aside the fact that, you know, he didn't have the most success in terms of team success in the NBA. He did have very good personal success. He had very good success at college and then
at the
international stage too, which
there
was a whole thing about, you know, Hoodie Mello and, you know, Team USA Mello. Like that actually does matter. And I think also too, he walked all over the pop culture line. Like people wanted to be like Carmelo.
Yeah.
So that actually surprises me how low it sold. And then the other argument that can be made, which is probably a weak argument right now, but it's the crossover argument too. You can go from 9.5 potentially to a PSA 10. So
Yeah, that's true.
All right. How about we do 2 more and then we'll call it a day.
Yeah,
So the
sounds
next
good.
one's Damian Lillard. That's in the thing, and this is an interesting one, and this is a relevant one too, just for the fact that he's
It's
changed.
good to check in with him now that he's
He's changed teams recently.
yeah.
All right. So the silver PSA 10, 2012 silver Prizm. In the last 3 months, it's sold 8 times. It last sold for 1,435.
Yeah.
So that's
Pop 10 of 41. Same year as Kawhi.
See, I wonder with this, I don't know all the background on here, and I think there was a little bit of a gap in terms of product here.
But it's the same year as Kawhi Leonard.
So would you rather a Luka rookie, or would you rather a Dame Lillard with a pop of 41?
That is a tough call. On because Lillard's got the same amount of MVPs and championships as Luka.
That he does.
So but he's also been around a little bit longer. So Lillard's another one where I'm judging his success or lack thereof.
Is the new comp card the Luka Silver PSA 10 that you literally can just comp to anything? Because you can say, right, this guy's got a better resume or a worse resume. He's got more championships or less championships. His pop is higher, his pop is lower. The price is higher, the price is lower. You know what I mean?
I think that Luka is a good basis of comparison, but you can probably use Zion as well. And you know what I mean?
But I think Luka is a better one than Zion because,
Luka's the hot property. I think
he's hot property, but he's a better bet, right? I think, the ceiling with Zion is so high, but the ceiling with Zion is also incredibly low too. I think Luka is very much a safe bet in some ways.
Yeah, Luka's an interesting one because a bit of success and that all changes.
The world just comes back to Luka Doncic, really, doesn't it?
I still think the biggest problem with Luka, and I'm not gonna throw too much shade, is the fact that I think everybody's valuing him on the assumption that he is going to succeed at some point.
Yeah.
And so there's no prospecting for his potential because it's already there. So we're already buying as if he's already hit it.
Sure.
That's where we're doing. Whereas Lillard, well, he hasn't hit it, but he's done some stuff. Like he taps his arm to like the Dame time stuff, and that's really entertaining. But I don't know. The players that don't win MVPs and don't win championships, it's hard to gauge what their career means. Because I'm not saying they're bad players, but I'm saying the accolades kind of draw attention to them.
Look, I think you can confidently say that Lillard card is not future priced. I think that's just the popularity of Lillard. That's his resume that's already been written, and that's the point.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's take this full circle. So we were talking about the conversation that was on the Verizon page, right?
Yep.
So the guy was saying, in 5 years' time, these are going to be $600 cards because of the population count. And when I first read that, I disagreed with it. And maybe this is the one sentence synopsis of tonight's show. Population count does matter, and this is how you pass it out.
This is interesting. So in 5 years, what's your prediction on Luka?
Well, you look at Luka, you look at Lillard, you look at Kawhi Leonard, which I think we've done a reasonable deep dive into tonight. Like,
very much.
That means something, Then you look at the other guys that we comped it to. Iverson, population 36. Dwayne Wade, population of 151. That's still 10 times less.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And the price difference there is significant. Then you look at Isaiah Thomas. Okay, probably not the greatest one-for-one comparison. The pop on that is still 42.
Population count of 42 says this is not going to be an easy card to come by.
And it's $5,500, yeah.
You're not going to find a website or like a Facebook page where someone's trying to sell 2 of them.
Yeah. And that was the other argument that was put forward. Yeah, and that's right. Selling 2 at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, someone's like, I've got 2 Lillard Gem Mint 10 Prizms. No.
Yeah, look, it's kind of making sense now, isn't it? Maybe you're right, Ad. Maybe Luka is not a great buy.
Maybe the type of Lukas.
That's right.
And I think this is the lesson with the Wemby side of it as well, right? When we're prospecting that. I mean, we said this a couple of years ago where numbered cards are important.
Very important.
Because they're always a limited quantity.
Mucho important.
Yep. That's the thing. You're not going to get a population count of 2,500 if a card is numbered to 299. I mean, sometimes you get a pop count of 2 with tops if it's a 1 of 1, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. This is from Matthew Hull. And Matthew, thank you for everything that you do for the show. You chip in a lot. I really think the 5-year players need to be discussed and rated. And I think that's a good conversation for, you can do a whole show on that. Look back at rookies from 5 years ago. Luka, so we've done that. Tatum, we've done that in the last few weeks. So I think we can skip past that. On the other hand, Dalen Terry. Interestingly, we spoke about Dalen Terry again 2 weeks ago. I spoke about the RPA that I bought after I went to the Bulls game.
Yeah.
Ayo, we spoke about him. Marshawn Brooks. Look, he's probably a tough one, and I probably would say he's just a very deep cut. I would also say, too, opportunity is his big problem. Scotty Pendlebury, I don't want to comp him. Spider Mitchell, DeMar DeRozan. We've done DeMar DeRozan. Zach LaVine, he's so injured at the moment.
Yeah.
Schroeder, there's not much hobby value there. Jimmy Butler, we've done on the show.
Yeah.
The one I do want to talk about out of all that is Donovan Mitchell, because actually Donovan Mitchell this year has been having a really good year. He is very much at that 5-year kicker point, and he's in the same group as De'Aaron Fox. He's in the same group as Jason Tatum, who are both now having, pretty decent sort of hobby years.
Interesting with Spider. Donovan Mitchell, Silver Prizm. Last sold price $217.50.
Yeah, population of that's 603.
I think that's relevant.
Yeah, it's not 2,000 though, is it?
It's not 2,000, but it's above 500.
Yeah,
yeah. It's
so the last 2 years he's down 72%.
Yeah,
the last 1 year he's down 27. Let's zoom in a bit closer. The last 6 months he's up 10%.
Yeah,
the last 3 months he's up 20%, and the last month he's up 26. Maybe that's actually more relevant. He's been playing good basketball.
The Cavs have actually come good.
Yeah, they've had a lot of injuries. He's kept them afloat. So,
yeah, interesting.
Buy, hold, sell ad at 217.
I'd actually consider buying at that price. And I'm not a huge Mitchell fan, but maybe that 2 to 3 range is where he's at.
Yep.
For now, it's good.
My only thing I'd say with this is I don't think you should expect fireworks from this card.
No.
Drafted in Utah, currently playing Cleveland. Strong argument to be made. He's the second option on that team.
Mm-hmm.
When Garland comes back, although I'm a Garland fanboy, so you might be asking the wrong person.
I still think it's a reasonable price. So I'd maybe even a hold.
Look, I'm really glad that he's made a comeback there. I think it's nice to sort of see some victories, in the hobby space every now and again.
Rather than the plummet nonsense. Yeah, for sure.
Right. The last thing of the show, and this is not on the run sheet, and I did it deliberately to pretty much sabotage and blindside you, is the Lakers have 2 All-Stars.
They do.
The Sacramento Kings have 0. The Kings have a better record than the Lakers, and Domantas Sabonis this year was playing amazingly.
Agreed.
Why do the Lakers have 2 All-Stars and
because the All-Star ballot is a popularity contest.
But that's also done by the coaches.
Yeah, it's still a popularity contest.
So Sabonis this year is averaging 19.9 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists in 46 games this season.
But that's the thing. You're right. The coaches do vote.
Yeah.
Is it the coaches or players?
Coaches and players, and there's some media
and there's
members
media.
that get a say.
So there's the people, the media, and then there's a little thing for the players and coaches. I think I don't think Domantas Sabonis is in the spotlight as much, and I do think he was shafted.
So I think, taking my Kings prejudice away, I don't actually mind that the Lakers got 1 All-Star, but I think in such a competitive conference, having 2, I think that's criminal.
Who was the one? Who was the one you would select?
Look,
I would say it was Anthony Davis.
I think just for legacy, I would probably go with LeBron James, because I think
I think Anthony Davis has earned a spot. Stats-wise, he's earned the spot. LeBron gets it in because he's popular, because he's LeBron.
Yeah, but even if you make that argument and you say, Anthony Davis should still be there. So I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I would actually make an extra spot on the All-Star roster just for LeBron. Like,
I know what you mean.
yeah. As much as this sort of pains me to say it,
Yeah.
he is actually very, very important to the league.
Synonymous.
I would also say too, Father Time catches up with everybody. And I'm not trying to say this to put a jinx on everything like that, but it's not impossible to say this is his last year.
It's not impossible.
The guy is a human specimen. He's a freak. But I think sometimes we
haven't even seen the decline yet.
We take that for granted,
I feel like the fact that we haven't seen the decline means there's at least one more. And it's weird. You're right. He's one niggling injury away from retirement.
Yeah.
But at the moment, you can't question the man's ability to get out on the floor and perform at an incredibly high level. But at what point is the All-Star game? Yeah, you're right. It's just a big popularity contest. But
look, it's really tough. And I think this is the thing. So, you make the argument that someone got left out. So then you have to say, well, who actually, should be taken off? Look, I think the Wolves having 2 All-Stars is actually correct. Because they've basically been very quietly dominating the league this season. So Edwards, I'm really glad Edwards made it. Look, Karl-Anthony Towns, if Gobert had been there and someone cited all the defensive stats, I would have been totally fine with that. Look, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard getting in, again, that doesn't super sit with me like that well.
I feel like only one of those should have got in.
The Booker one, again, if Sabonis had been in there instead of Booker or Fox had been there, I'm okay with that.
I feel like we don't have a trouble. We don't really have control over the starters. That's my thing.
Look, SGA, I'm actually glad he's there. Luka, you guys know what I feel about Luka. The Joker, Durant, LeBron, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I feel like I just feel like the reserves, it needs to be a little bit more attention to less popularity contests. But I do think Anthony Davis puts a decent case forward. And you're right, it's a tight competition. So yeah. I feel like there are some snubs there that definitely warrant some questions.
Yeah. All right. I think on that note, we sign off.
Yes.
Thank you everyone for a fantastic evening.
It was good. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you for your time.
Pleasure as always.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the next one. It was good.
All righty, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, everyone. See you guys. Bye.